We've got some major Instagram algorithm update coming in, and I'm not exaggerating, but your Reels views have been wrong. In fact, they've been a lot higher than the number you see. And this latest Instagram algorithm update is fixing that whole thing right now. And to be honest, all of this finally explains why your reach has been so low, especially compared to other platforms, and why it's just so much easier to get views on TikTok. Might all be a big sham, and views don't actually equal views on the platforms. But let's take it slow. This whole thing started when our old friend, the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, mentioned one little interesting detail in his Q&As a few weeks back. Somebody asked him if IG Reels include replays in the play count, meaning if somebody watches your Reels, let's say 3 times, do you get 3 views? And I thought, yeah, but he said the following.
I don't believe it currently does, but it should, because that seems to be the industry practice, so we are changing it if we haven't just changed.
Which made me really think, that was not a thing before. So basically the way the Instagram algorithm and the view counts and everything were set up was that you get 1 play, aka view, per person watching. Once, that's it, in the same session. Meaning, in a way, the view counts have always been lower than they actually are. Now, sure enough, just a few days later, after this Q&A, they finally announced that replays are now being counted. What a surprise. And they also announced a whole new update of the full analytics suite and the metrics we get to basically make our content better and get more views. Now, here's what they said. Let's actually take a look. In an effort to provide creators with deeper insights on the performance of your content, we're introducing a new Reels metric called replays. We're also updating the definition of real plays to include replays in addition to initial plays. And here's where it gets interesting. You may notice an increase in your Reels plays as a result of this. Right. Now, this is the point where I went down a big rabbit hole about TikTok and YouTube and why things are the way they are. Because they say a play, aka a view, now is counted whenever somebody watches your video for more than 1 millisecond. Right? That's basically immediately. And to be honest, I believe this used to be 3 seconds and it didn't count replays, obviously. So just that in and itself will either inflate your views or you'll finally see what your views really are and always have been. Here's a quick example. Let's say you have a 7-second video and 10,000 people get to see it, aka impressions. Half of these people leave before the 3-second mark, but half of them actually watched it twice because it hit the nail in some way. According to the old system, in this scenario, you get 5,000 views. All good, still cool, but could be better, right? According to the new one, nothing was changed, just the way they count these metrics. You'll have 15,000 views. That's 3 times more views just because of the way they count it. Well, that's by far not everything. Because this whole thing about the replays and the 1 millisecond view made me actually wonder, how about the other platforms? And here's the interesting part. Long form YouTube, right? The thing right here where everybody's like, oh, long form YouTube to get a bigger connection with your viewers and the one YouTube view is so much stronger than, let's say, a TikTok view. Well, we might be onto something as to why, because on long form YouTube, it only counts as a view if somebody watches or spends at least 30 seconds on your video. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. 30 seconds. Below that, no view, 0 views. YouTube Shorts, however, count the views immediately. So, there's that. Basically, the 1 millisecond rule, basically the same. Same thing with TikTok. And then I found another thing called autoplay. So if you scroll down like this, right? Did you just see this one reel just quickly passing through? Do you think that counts as a real view, a play, or not? Smart people might be like, yeah, that's more than a millisecond. So yeah, it counts as a view. On YouTube Shorts, yeah, it totally does. We actually have a feature in the analytics called swiped away to track that. On TikTok, it also counts. At least that's what people say on the internet. So if you're just swiping through like this, you're basically giving people views whether you actively consume it or not. Not good views, right? Nobody even registers it if they see it, but it's invisible internet points nonetheless, and people base their self-worth on these things. And taking a look at the internet, everybody was like, no, on Instagram, these swipe through views don't count at all. ChatGPT told me at first, then I was like, are you sure? Do you have any sources for that? Suddenly, ChatGPT was like, well, I don't know. Probably not then. What's going on? So I actually went ahead and did the test. Literally just swiped past with a new account, just less than 1 second actually. And guess what? Yeah, they do count as well on Instagram. So if you think about it, we kind of went from a very safe, sort of high threshold view mark, right? A view was a good view, a high quality view, to basically just very inflated view numbers. But then again, the whole industry has been doing this for a while, I guess. So I'm not even sure what's right or wrong at this point. Now, what does that whole thing actually tell us about the algorithm, and how can you make sure you actually keep your higher numbers up from now on? First of all, with all these new metrics that they finally introduced, you just first of all need to be very honest to yourself and analyze each of your videos from now on and track them according to the metrics, especially the retention curve, which is being rolled out a lot more widely right now with a lot of people. It tells you exactly when people have dropped off, when people thought it was boring, etc. So the most important job for you right now, from now on, is trying to keep this whole retention curve up as high as possible. In my creator mentorship, for example, I actually go through my students' curves and carefully analyze the bits that don't work and why they don't work. And then we basically check out how to improve to get your views up. I also have resources and lessons on how to do that yourself in my course, the IG Black File. But apart from this, the second really insightful metric that we get with this update are the replays, because that basically means in the same session, how many people watched this video over again. And that tells you just so much about the rewatchability of your content. Basically, what we always talk about, the viewer satisfaction. If the replays are higher, obviously people are more satisfied, more ads for the platform, better for you. People are gonna stay longer. You'll get a lot more reach. Now, obviously replays are gonna be higher with shorter videos just by the nature of it. But even if you have longer ones, right? If somebody watches the whole thing and then goes back and watches certain parts again, you also get a replay, making it really easy for you to actually spot some outlier videos that people really enjoy, you know, something to take in for your subsequent strategy. Now, to be honest, we're in update season on Instagram right now. There's so many more things that got just recently changed or are about to be changed. And here's a video explaining the major change that recently happened with hashtags. Hint, it's totally different than you might think.